Bob Dylan spoke of him as somebody with rare talent and all that at his Canadian Music Hall of Fame induction at the Juno Awards in 1986. Undoubtedly an endearing artist whose music is arguably known more than himself, with countless of his contemporaries putting forth their rendition of his songs. Dylan, the Headstones, Elvis, just to name a few. Gordon Lightfoot, of course, passed away last May at the age of 84, and one artist who has been greatly impacted by Lightfoot's work is Saskatchewan's very own Jack Semple, who joins me now. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. It's nice to join you here, Dan.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've been able to have a conversation. Previously, you were playing with your trio at the Orpheum Theatre, and now you have the full band you're bringing down. What was the impetus for putting a program like this together?
Well, I've always loved Gordon Lightfoot's music, and even like in 2006, I did a tribute CD, all instrumental versions of Gordon Lightfoot tunes. And so I've been a devotee of his music forever. The first concert I ever saw was a Gordon Lightfoot concert when I was 10 years old. And, it stuck with me, and it created a desire to play music. Anyway, so when he passed away, I mean, I knew that he was ill. Like his health was poor the last stage of his life, and I just wanted to celebrate his music. So the CD that I made back in 2006 was all instrumental, but this show is all vocal. It's with a 5-piece band, and it's there's background vocals, and there's a second guitar. Dave Shabbat, my buddy, is playing Red Shea's parts. Legendary guitar player Red Shea, who played with Gordon Lightfoot for years. And a really great steel guitar player by the name of Ian Cameron, and Danny Jones on bass, Brent Jefferson on the drums. So it's a full meal deal.
7:30 start time. Tickets available at Hender's Drugs. Obviously, you've played at the Orpheum Theatre many times before, and I'm actually going to have the rare pleasure of performing with you that evening with my son Maverick. He's 10 years old, actually, and you're actually one of the first concerts that he ever saw at the Orpheum. He was just blown away by your drummer and just how well he played. And yeah, I just want to thank you for giving us this rare opportunity to be a part of the evening. And I was curious to ask what you think about playing in these older theaters and just kind of the sound and thinking about the history that they have here in Southeast Saskatchewan.
I love older theaters like the Orpheum, and I mean, I don't know when it was built, but these old theaters were originally built for natural acoustic sound, because oftentimes there used to be a theater in Regina called the Capitol Theater, which was downtown, where there actually was a band that was a house band that played for the silent movies. And so they made these theaters to sound good, so they all sound great. The Orpheum sounds fantastic. I love that theater.
I watched a video of a performance that you did, and you said in it, "We've got 27 minutes to get all of our licks in," and that was after you played a song where you played some of the craziest riffs I've ever heard, the Blues Summit performance in Toronto. I was curious how that came together and what that was all about.
Yeah, well, every year or every second year, they have a what they call a blues summit, where bands come and they get the opportunity to showcase for festival buyers and record companies, and it's a business schmooze. And so that we got accepted to showcase that year, which was great. We really spread the word of our band, and in hopes of getting. I just came from it last night, actually. This year's one, and I saw so many great bands. There's a lot of great live bands out there playing funky blues music.
Now, it's interesting because you are known for being one of Canada's premier guitar players just in general, and to switch it up to play acoustic guitar. Gordon Lightfoot, of course, was a phenomenal player as well. What's it like going from the extremes of how fast you could play the blues to playing with like delicacy and grace for Lightfoot's music?
Yeah, well, it's all about the vocals, because Gordon Lightfoot was like Bob Dylan. His lyrics are poetry and they're beautiful imagery. So the challenge is singing all the tunes. There's a few solos. I get to stretch out and play a little bit, but mainly it's just singing the tunes. And the songs are so well written, and they're such beautiful. Like the song "Did She Mention My Name?" It's a perfect song from beginning to end. As soon as I'm done, I go, that's a perfect song. I mean, and his writing was all like that. Like Canadian Railroad Trilogy is a masterpiece, total masterpiece. And there's a lot of lyrics in that song, and you got to get them right. So that's the focus. It's vocals, it's singing on this gig.
Now, I mentioned that a lot of Gordon Lightfoot's contemporaries have covered his music. Do you ever think about changing the way you want to play his songs, or do you try to keep it as close to original as possible?
Well, if I think I can interpret them in an original way, I will. Like the songs like Pussy Willow's Cattails and The Way I Feel, which are very moody tunes, and I take those out and I stretch out solo in them. But songs like that you mentioned my name and Early Morning Rain, those songs play themselves. There's nothing I could do to improve on them. They're perfect songs. But the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, I definitely strap on my Stratocaster and go to Jimi Hendrix land. Because it has that big swinging groove in between verses it has that riff, and so I stretch that out of it. I'm just a human being. I can't control everything.
That's fair. Yeah, and you mentioned that you saw Gordon Lightfoot when you were 10 years old. Was that the moment where you realized how special he was, or had you heard his music beforehand and kind of were hip to it already?
Right. No, I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know anything about live music. I didn't know anything about guitar players or anything, right? I just saw it. And then my brother Jim took me about 3 times when I was young to concerts, because Lightfoot would come through every year, in those days. This is 1968, 69, 70, 71, around there. And so I saw him a few times. And the second time I saw him, I noticed more things. I noticed, hey, there's 2 other guys on stage. What's that low sound that he's playing? Oh, that's a bass guitar. Oh, wow. And Gordon Lightfoot was always playing a 12-string, which I bought a 12-string for this gig. So I'm not wearing it right now. But 12-string is a different animal. It has a different sound, and you play it differently. But it's full. It is a full sound. So Red Shea, his guitar player in those days, I remember Gordon introducing him, and he was from Prince Albert. And I thought, wow, he's from Saskatchewan. Gordon Lightfoot's a big star, but he had to come all the way to Saskatchewan to get a good guitar player.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's interesting when you think about Saskatchewan and the arts and music community with how spread out the province is, and yet we find a way to get together to listen to music and to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to hearing you when you play on Saturday night.
Well, it won't be with as much grace. I'm gonna definitely say that much. We're a little feral, but we're looking forward to it.
That's the real deal. That's the real thing right there.
And it'll be interesting because we don't actually know any covers aside from the one that we're going to do. It's all original, so it'll be an interesting mix to go from one to the next. But yes, I really do appreciate getting this opportunity. Like I mentioned, when my son saw you guys play, he was blown away. So was I. I had no expectations. I remember I interviewed you, and I'd kind of seen some of your stuff, and then when you're actually there and you're seeing it firsthand, it is something special. So I'm really looking forward to all the people that are going to be able to make it to this concert. Once again, Jack Semple with band, a tribute to Gordon Lightfoot, this Saturday, the 17th, at the Orpheum Theatre. Tickets available at Hinders Drugs. Just one last thing before I let you go, Jack. A hidden gem for those that are sort of fans of Gordon Lightfoot. Is there a song that really has touched your heart over the years that maybe a lot of people aren't hip to?
Right, aren't hip to? Well, the big hits are Sundown, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, If You Could Read My Mind. And If You Could Read My Mind is a masterpiece of a tune. But one of the songs that's really near and dear to my heart is a song called The Mountains in Marianne. And it's a story about a guy riding on a motorcycle from the east all the way to the west coast, and the story of his journey all the way there. And it's just brings back such great, fond discovery memories for me when I heard him play it.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing you again on Saturday.
Right on. I look forward to seeing you too, and look forward to playing the Orpheum.